Hare Krishna. In the series of making Shat Goswami Temple of Vrindavan, the earlier episode we spoke about Madan Mohan Temple. Madan Mohan Temple undoubtedly the first temple which has to be worshipped before we progress. Today we will cover one of the most important temple of Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is Radha Damodar Mandir. Radha Damodar Mandir is one of the famous seven Goswami temple, and it was established by Srila Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami actually was nephew and also disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami. The original deity of Radha Damodar was personally handcarved by Rupa Goswami and given to Jiva Goswami as a gift. The deity is currently, as usual, in Jaipur, where all other deities of Gauriya Goswamis were taken for safety due to the fear that they will be desecrated by the tyrant Aurangzeb soldiers. The replica deity known as Pratibhu Murti, which has exactly the same potency as the original, is presently being worshipped here at the Radha Damodar Mandir, although the pujaris like to claim otherwise. According to the old record, the deity of Radha Damodar was installed on the Singhasana in the year 1542, when the first Seva Puja was performed. Between 1542 until 1558, and then in 1570, when Emperor Akbar made a visit to Vrindavan, many temples were built. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he first did the Seva Puja of Radharamana sometimes in 1543, and in 1548, when Jiva Goswami finally acquired the land at Shevakunj, where the deity of Radha Damodar was being worshipped, during the same year he also acquired the land at Radha Kunda. Now, on the altar of this temple, which in Hindi we call Singhasan, we see Radha Damodar, and besides the deities of Radha Damodar and the Gopi Lalita Devi, one can see the Pratibhu Murti of two other Gauriya Goswami deities, including Radha Vrindavan Chandra, which was a worship deity by Krishnadas Kabiraj Goswami, and Radha Madhava, which was being worshipped by Srila Jayadev Goswami. The deity of Radha Chalchikan, which was being worshipped by Bhugarva Goswami, is believed to be the original deity worshipped by him. One can also see on the Singhasan the Govardhan Shila that was given to Sanatan Goswami by Lord Krishna himself for the purpose of Sanatan Goswami's circumambulation of Govardhana hill during his old age. The Shila is also believed to be the Pratibhu Murti, with the original Shila being in Jaipur. In Radha Damodar Mandir, it is believed that if we make 7 parikrama of the samadhis and the deity and the altar, we get the same effect of making parikrama of Govardhan also. In Radha Damodar Mandir, which was situated in a corner of the sacred Seva Kunja, there was a place where Rupa Goswami, he established his own bhajan kutir, and he composed many of his books there. Rupa Goswami at that time was assisted by his nephew and disciple Jiva Goswami, who personally made the parchment leaves for Rupa Goswami to write down, and also edited almost all Rupa Goswami's books. It was once said by His Grace Divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad that Radha Damodar Mandir is situated at the center of the spiritual world because of the divine activities performed there by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who use this place for their daily meetings also. And from here they used to make their plans to inundate the world with Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada stayed here at the Radha Damodar Mandir for quite a number of years, almost 7 years, and he translated the first three cantos of Vedic classic of Srimad Bhagavatam into English in this place. After completing his translation of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada left for America in 1965 in order to fulfill the order given to him by his spiritual master, which was to spread the teachings of six Goswamis and the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtana movement all over the world. In his own book, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that he had a feeling that he would not be possible to write all these books without mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, whose presence he used to feel during his writing the book. In reverent places like samadhis of exalted devotees like Jiva Goswami, Krishnadas Kabiraj Goswami, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati thakur Pushpa Samadhi, Srila Rupa Goswami, King Virambavir Samadhi, Srila Bhugarva Goswami Samadhi. When we observed all of them and we prayed our obeisances and also prayed to them for our consciousness, it was a very, very sacred and divine feeling in our mind. We all remember and we all know all these exalted devotees, and we actually did our chanting in those places, and that's the way we should actually see when we visit these Gauriya Shat Goswami, Gauriya 7 temples. So on the altar, as I told, that Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Madhav and Radha Chalchikan was there, Govardhan Shila was there, and there were samadhis of these exalted devotees. When most of the name Srila Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami may be known to you, I will try to touch upon about King Virambir Pushpa Samadhi. King Virambir was formerly known as Daku Raja, meaning he was a dacoit king. Because to enhance his treasury, he employed gangs of dacoits and highway robbers to loot travelers and merchants who happened to pass through his kingdom. In the year 1582, Jiva Goswami sent his three celebrated Shiksha disciples, namely Srinivas Acharya, Narottama Das and Shyamananda Pandit, by bullock cart from Vrindavan to Navadvip, with a large box containing copies of six Goswamis' books. Now, those books were to be distributed among Lord Chaitanya's followers in Bengal and Odisha. During this long and arduous journey, as it was late in the day and they were very tired from travelling, these Goswamis found a place to camp for the night, not realizing that they were within the territory of notorious King Virambir. Meanwhile, the king's astrologer informed him that a very great and unparalleled treasure was now passing through his kingdom. The king immediately sent his dacoit gang, and the royal robbers quietly made off with the box, which they believed was full of treasure, during night when these Goswamis were sleeping. Once they returned to the king's palace and they opened the box, the king was surprised to find only books. Meanwhile, when Srinivas, Narottama and Shyamananda woke up early in the morning, they found that all books are stolen, and they were horrified, because each book was copied by hand, and as was the practice in the days before the invention of the printing press, and to replace them was nearly impossible. It was decided that Srinivas Acharya would alone remain behind and try to locate the stolen books, while the others carried on with their journey. While moving here and there in search of the books, Srinivas Goswami gave lectures at various places about the glories of Lord Chaitanya and six Goswamis. The local people were enthralled by the discourses of Srinivas, who have studied, and he had invited everywhere to attend a discourse on Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, when this news of this learned philosopher and scholar came spread, the king also came to know. Had he invited this scholar to speak about Srimad Bhagavatam at the royal court. Actually, when he reached, he found that some royal pandit was giving a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam. The lecture was very disturbing to Srinivas as due to his unauthorized and impersonal conclusion by that speaker, and Srinivasa challenged the court pandit on number of points. In response, the court pandit also challenged Srinivas, sarcastically saying that if Srinivas thought he could give a better discourse on Srimad Bhagavatam, then he should go ahead and try. Srinivas Acharya immediately took up the challenge and gave a resounding lecture based on everything he had learned from Jiva Goswami and from the books of the six Goswamis. The audience was completely astounded, and King Virambhir, who attended the discourse, was greatly moved by what he had heard. King Virambhir was very eager to meet Srinivas, and when the king asked Srinivas if there was anything that he can do to serve him, Srinivasa mentioned that they have lost a box of stolen books. The king immediately broke down and tearfully admitted his dastardly activities of robbing the travelers, while at the same time begging forgiveness from Srinivas, whom he recognized that he is a great saint. The king then led Srinivas to the box of the books lying in the royal storeroom. When Srinivas saw the box containing Goswami's literature, he was overjoyed, and after this incident, King Virambhir took himself shelter of Srinivas Acharya and accepted him as his guru. He completely reformed himself and gradually became a sincere Vaishnava. He was later given initiation by Srinivas Acharya and received the name as Chaitanya Dasa. He renamed his kingdom as Vana Vishnu Rupa and encouraged all the citizens to adopt Vaishnava Dharma. So, that King Virambhir, his Pushpa Samadhi was also placed in the same place. Srila Bhugarva Goswami is one of the least known among the Vrindavan Goswamis because he lived a very reclusive life. He became known as Bhugarva because he could perform his bhajana inside a small cave-like hole which in Hindi is called Garva in the ground, and ground was Bhu, and his name was Bhugarva Goswami. He was disciple of Gadadhar Pandit and was a very close friend of Loknath Goswami. Bhakti Ratnakara says Bhugarva Goswami and Loknath Goswami were so close and affectionate to one another that they were like one body. Lord Chaitanya appeared before him in a dream and ordered him go to Vrindavan and locate all the sacred forest. His friend Loknatha also had a similar dream in which Lord Chaitanya gave him same order to locate the sacred forest of Krishna's pastime. The two friends immediately left for Vrindavan, where they arrived sometimes in 1509, much earlier to all other Vaishnava Goswamis who reached Vrindavan. They travelled to many of the places in Braja and located many of the important forests and other tirthas. Loknatha also discovered the celebrated deity of Radha Damodar at Kishori Kunda near Umaraya. It was believed that Bhugarva Goswami had the opportunity of meeting Krishna in person, who actually carried him when he was tired and almost breathless during finding one of the forest, and that actually made him very embarrassed because Krishna carried him back to his hole and put him on a resting place. So he was very embarrassed and ashamed that he took Seva from Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna came in his dream and told that he actually reciprocated to his love to a pure devotee only. His samadhi is also there. Srila Rupa Goswami entered samadhi in the year of 1564, and his sacred body was entombed here next to his bhajan kutir by his beloved disciple and nephew Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami was born in the year 1485, and he first met Lord Chaitanya along with his two brothers at Ramkeli, West Bengal. In 1514, at his first meeting, the three brothers resolved in their hearts to renounce the world and devote their lives to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the year 1516, Rupa Goswami arrived in Vrindavan and spent the rest of his life in propagating the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and by the time he left the world, he had done enough to firmly establish Vrindavan, the place where Lord Krishna performed his transcendental pastime, as the most important place of pilgrimage, not only in India but also in the entire face of the earth. Srila Rupa Goswami, according to Gaur Ganodesh Deepika, was highly celebrated Rupa Manjari in Krishna's Vrindavan pastime. Rupa Manjari is one of the Radha's most confidential maidservant, and in the transcendental hierarchy of Gopi maidservant, she is considered second only to Lalita Sokhi. It is therefore said in the Vaishnava Tantras that before one can approach Radha and Krishna, one must first approach Lalita Sokhi and take her blessing. Then only one can dare to approach Radha and Krishna. And it is also said that before one should approach Lalita Sokhi, one should first approach her assistant, the all-merciful Rupa Manjari, and take her blessing. And then only one can approach Lalita Sokhi and then finally Radha and Krishna. And therefore thus Rupa Goswami was the leader of the Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and we, the follower of him, are known for all as Rupanuga, which in literally meaning is followers of Sri Rupa Goswami. As told in the beginning of the video, Radha Damodar Temple is one of the most auspicious and sacred temple for Gauriya Vaishnavas, and if you happen to visit Vrindavan, it is a must. After Radha Madan Mohan, must visit Radha Damodar Temple and then move to the next temple. In the next episode, we will try to cover Govind Devji Temple. Hare Krishna.